Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. You remember this thing called the yen carry trade? Can anybody really truly explain to me what the heck is this yen carry trade thing? All I'm really seeing here is that the Nikkei, which nobody cares about anymore for some reason, is looking okay. This is the Ichimoku cloud, is way above the cloud on the monthly. It is finding support here at the Tenkan Kijun. Looks like it just kind of want to go sideways, consolidate sideways here. Could it plummet all the way back down to the cloud? Sure it can, but it tried and it couldn't, and it found support, so I think it's probably going to end up breaking about this arc over here. It tried to break out the arc here in July, couldn't. Try to break down underneath the Tenkan Kijun, couldn't. It's just been going sideways, consolidating, giving a lot of energy. It wants to push higher. How do you even talk about that? Because it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter. Nobody's talking about the Nikkei. The only reason why anybody's talking about Nikkei is because there's some macro event that's supposed to be scary and they're starting to talk about it. I don't care. Nobody cares. They keep on. I've put a video up basically telling you like why I don't care. And I was trying to, calm nerves or whatever. I don't know like what I'm doing here, to be honest with you. Except for trying to call out the BS that I don't think it's that worrisome. This is a little bit of a busy chart here. This is the S&P 500 on the monthly. It's a very bullish chart. I don't know how you could interpret this as like a top or as bearish. It basically, ever since the Great Financial Crisis bottom, has basically gone from arc to arc to arc, kind of getting up there that way, right? And right now, we've broken above the arc very convincingly. After the 2021-2022 touched the horizontal gain line over here and pushed back down. And right now, we have pushed through this arc over here, which tells me most likely we're going to end up gravitating up to probably the top of the square here, right? You're talking about some pretty sick move, maybe like 25% move up. Maybe over the next 2 years or so, maybe. And you are also getting over the 1.618 Fibonacci level. You got pretty close to back testing the 1.618 here this month. Got really close to doing it today. Great job, bears. You're forming a higher low on an uptrend. And the month is not even over. So that's one less thing that I'm really, truly worried about here. Now, the other thing I also look at is the QQQ. And it's spanned about, and also just look at this market symmetry here. I mean, I was just sharing with you all of this just a couple days ago. But look at this beautiful market symmetry here, where it just kind of gone from arc to arc to arc to arc. Got rejected here, the arc came back tested the angle, and push up a lot higher. It did span about 5 months trying to break the Gann horizontal level here using the arc as support and finally push through. And right now it's just, it got rejected at 1.414, but you're able to push through now. It's just stuck between 1.4 and 1.618. This is a bullish look. You got a little bit of a bearish candle here, sure. They call it like a shooting star type candle. Could it be potentially a little bit bearish? Sure, you have one over here. You also have one over here, but you also have one over here, but they don't always have to be bearish. You have hanging man candles here that just keeps on going up a lot higher. And the month is not even over yet, right? The month is not even over yet. Here's another shooting star candle that didn't work out and it just keeps going higher. So these candle formation, I wouldn't say, don't worry about it. It's above very important levels. It's stuck between 1.6 and 1.414. It still looks bullish. IWM is so scary. It erased all the gains that we've had back in November when you have the post-Trump pump, right? Basically, everything got erased. That's so sad. That's so scary. Is that something that we should say that the bull market is over because of this? No. Because this is still a higher low. This is still a higher low. This is very much still a very, very intact bull trend. There's nothing really bearish on a higher time frame on this chart. There's nothing really bearish on this high time frame on this chart. It's coming back and back testing the Tenkan over here. Like basically it's a very, very healthy bull trend. That's what I'm seeing. And I think that this is going to take out a lot of stop loss because it did go a little bit lower than some of the support levels that you would imagine in just one day. I mean, it just went like 4.4% today. Probably took a lot of stop loss. I am not bearish on IWM here. Matter of fact, I actually think that these kinds of high volume capitulation candles are exactly what you need before price keep going up higher. Close the gap, huge capitulation candle, right? Push through the Ichimoku cloud here. On the daily, I don't really see the Ichimoku cloud as that big of a indicator, but just look at the Bollinger Band. It's just shot way underneath the low Bollinger Band here. Like these kinds of things on huge volume, like these kinds of things are not sustainable. These kinds of things are what you would expect to see capitulation. I honestly think that like this candle over here was worse than the August candle over here. August 5th candle over here. And I think this is what you really need to grab the liquidity, to take a stop loss, to basically margin call whoever you need to margin call before you go up a lot higher. These kind of candles are what really make the bull rally continue to bull rally. I am not really seeing that big of a concern here. Now, you are going to say, yeah, it did break underneath the mean here. It did break underneath the 20-week moving average. It does that all the time on the way up. And yeah, it did break underneath the Parabolic support band, but it does that all the way on the way up all the time. You had the 20 over the 50 over 100 SMA here. And it's just, this is a full bull trend. I think it's foolish to be bearish here. Any kind of like dip like this is actually, to me, I think it's actually extremely bullish. If you're looking at some of the other sectors here, you can see how the semiconductors have been struggling for a very long time, right? Why has the semis been struggling for a very long time? Because it's also stuck inside an arc here for a very long time. This arc is stuck here for about 7 months now. I'm going to zoom out here. I drew this here on the SMH Semiconductor Index ETF from the bottom of the Great Financial Crisis all the way up. Very similar to S&P 500, very similar to QQQ. It's shown remarkable market symmetry here, 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 and also here, right? Pushed through the arc like it's butter, but came back tested the arc, passed, right? And then just went a lot higher after that. Right now it's stuck inside the arc for months number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got rejected here at a 2.618 level over here as expected, because you guess it's usually the bull market ends up stalling a lot either at the 1.618 or 2.618, and it chooses to get stalled at 2.618, which is fine. It's stalling sideways here for about 7 months, being a lot of energy here. It's not bearish, it's just necessary. It tried to break above, couldn't do that. Trying to break down below because of the whatever yen carry trade is. Came back tested 1.618 here, got back inside. Looks like it wants to become more bullish. Looks like it wants to keep pushing up after getting done with this consolidation here on low volume. All of this is meaningless because there's no volume, right? Now, if you're wondering, like, why isn't the biotech sector running up? This is XBI. XBI has been running into resistance here for a while now. It wants to break through because it's got a bullish crossover here. This looks like a chart for like Mara, to be honest with you. It's building up a lot of energy for about the entire year trying to break through. It's just not able to because you're hitting some pretty strong resistance here at the monthly cloud, right? I had to come back down, back test some of the stuff down here. Right now it's kind of broken through the Tenkan here. But overall, it's still bullish. It's flipped the 20-month moving average from resistance here to support. There's nothing bearish about this chart, right? It's just necessary for you to kind of backtest the things that you need to before you go up higher. This is XLI. This is the industrials, extremely bullish. Notice how it's been also following some pretty great market symmetry here. Arc, horizontal line here. And it pushed through the arc, and right now industrials like wants to keep going higher. When industrial wants to keep going higher, I don't see the index is really crashing that much. Now you can see, oh no, this month so far in December you have a Parabolic bearish candle. Doesn't mean that you can have a bearish candle next month. Sure, it could be like that, and then it could go up a lot higher. I mean, it doesn't matter. Here you had a bullish Parabolic candle, just going sideways here for like none of these things are really that. Like here you have a bullish Parabolic candle, you have a bullish candle after that, but you have 3 bearish candles after that, right? Yeah, bearish engulfing, maybe January, maybe a little bit lower, and then go up a lot higher. That's kind of what I'm seeing, because it wants to probably gravitate up to the next level, which is the horizontal level over here and the arc over here. Financials. You're talking about financials. How can you be bearish on the market if financials are doing well, right? Same thing. Great financial crisis for the financials, right? Broke through the arc, got to the arc, got to the horizontal, got through the arc, and right now wants to grab it up here to the arc right above, right? So far, I'm not seeing anything bearish on a lot of the sectors that are very important to S&P 500. If you're looking at the 2-year yield, and for 2-year yield, I'm going to get rid of the log. I'm going to show you the linear chart here because it's percentages. And what I'm going to show you here is the Ichimoku cloud. You have the red really trying to catch up here to the blue, which means that you're about to have a bearish Tenkan-Kijun cross. What happened the last time you had a bullish Tenkan-Kijun cross? Yields went crazy from like 1% all the way up to what, like 5.2, 5.3%. When was the last time you had a bearish cross? Yields went from 1.5% to 0, right? You're about to have a bearish cross. Not only you're about to have a bearish cross, you're actually broke down underneath, you're actually trying to back test this as resistance, right? This looks extremely weak. Now, if you're looking at a 2-week chart, if you're looking at the Bollinger Band here, you can see that its price is not price. The 2-year yield has really broken underneath this 40-week moving average here. Found the low Bollinger Band just way too far overextended, came back test, went to the mean, right? Retraced back to the mean, right? Back to the 40-week moving average. So far, it's serving as resistance. If you get rejected here, lights out. It's going to like 3.3% or something like that. That's where I'm projecting what the 2-year yield is going to do. And the market is getting shaky whenever you have yields kind of going like crazy to like Jerome Powell's talking. Yields go up. It's so scary, slamming right into resistance. S&P 500 gone down. So scary, right? I mean, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? The S&P 500 is going down right smack into a 1.618 level, right? I mean, all of these things are not coincidence. All of these things are happening because they were going to happen anyway based on trend. U.S. liquidity, money supply, keep going up. China, liquidity supply, keep going up. Are you worried about inflation? Let's look at oil. Let me smack this into your head here. I'm never deterministic. Like the reason why I'm not, I don't really like to be like arrogant. I'm right. Like it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. I'm just seeing a lot of confluence here. They're telling me like, and especially when people are scared. I just get so angry about people getting scared when all the evidence are pointing to contrary, right? You have something called a descending triangle, right? I've seen these descending triangles over and over again. Last time I really see this really screwing a lot of people was Bitcoin. Was when you have this descending triangle over here. Perfect descending triangle here, by the way, in 2018. Whenever you're done with this dead Cantonese bounce, you break down through the floor, right? I'm seeing the same thing kind of happening with oil right now. That is getting me a little bit thinking that inflation is probably not gonna be a thing anymore. I just, I'm gonna get back here to, actually this is log already, okay. Yeah, so I don't think that this is gonna be a thing anymore because it's got very much of a descending triangle look to it. It looks like it wants to roll over and it could go down to the 60s, which is crazy, by the way, because a lot of, like the Chinese government, they realize like printing money like crazy. Everybody's doing all these things, and you're supposed to be, like you're supposed to have like oil go up, right? But no, it just keeps on plummeting down. So everything is pointing. Like another thing to point at too. Look at copper. Copper is basically kind of telling you about the health of the economy. Copper's got a little bit of a descending triangle, but not really. If anything, it's a little bit more like a wedge here. It's finding support here at the Ichimoku cloud at least. It still looks healthy. It's got a little bit of bearish cross, but overall, this is a 2-week chart. On the monthly chart, it looks a lot healthier, right? You basically are trying to get close to the monthly Ichimoku cloud here, and this looks like it wants to bounce because you had a bullish cross over here that's still in play, right? So I think copper is saying that the economy is still healthy. VIX, everybody's got scared about the VIX, right? VIX gone up a lot. Doesn't mean that it's going to keep going up a lot, maybe, but it's right at a very thick, hugely thick Ichimoku cloud resistance. Very thick Ichimoku cloud resistance here. Does that mean that it's going to push for the economy to go a lot higher? Unlikely, right? It did that before during COVID, right? But that's also some pretty extraordinary circumstances here. When you're hitting the cloud here, generally you end up getting rejected because it's resistance, right? And we were just right smack at the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. Like I don't think any of this is coincidence. I just don't think any of this is coincidence. Now, looking at the one thing that does make me a little bit more bearish, I'm not gonna lie. Look at one thing that's going to make me a little bit more bearish is the US dollar index, the DXY. It does look like it wants to form a higher high here. And it does look like you have a very, very strong, 3 white soldier candles over here on the monthly. It does make you wonder whether or not you have some bullish continuation. Initially, I thought that it was probably going to end up getting rejected here. And it could still end up getting rejected here for the month of December. But so far, you're kind of breaking out above over here. So that's really the only thing I'm seeing that's just like, maybe I'm wrong. But everything else is saying that I'm probably not. Looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is plummeting right now to like the 99,000 zone, which is extremely scary for a lot of people because they're already getting used to Bitcoin being at like 100,000 and beyond. But it's been hitting resistance, and it's still a bull trend. Like there's really nothing bearish about Bitcoin. It's just hitting resistance. So if your time horizon is you're trying to trade in and out of these trades over here, then Bitcoin's bearish. But right now, like it's not a bearish chart. It did push above over here all the way to like 108,000. And it did break back down below. It broke through this arc over here, right? So it looks like it could go up higher, but it's got a little bit of trees at the top here. Had this big giant bearish candle here for the day. This is a daily chart for Bitcoin. And right now, I guess it is trying to find support underneath. It broke down underneath the arc here. Maybe it's going to backtest this arc here at the bottom. Maybe it's going to go to like 89,000. Maybe not. It still looks like a liquidity grab. It looks like it's trying to take out a lot of stop loss. Overall, this trend does look a little bit exhausted, so this move is not surprising. But it looks like it just wanted to zigzag and move up in the channel. And right now, it's getting closer to the bottom of the channel here. So I don't know. Like if Bitcoin breaks down all the way down here, so be it. But it just smells like a bear trap, based on everything that I was just kind of showing you just now. It just smells like a bear trap. Volume is kind of picking up, yesterday with this big giant candle over here. You knew there's going to be a little bit of bearish continuation here because of a little bit of Parabolic candle look over here. But I do think it's probably going to, if it ends up going lower, it's probably going to get support down here around like the 98,000 is kind of what I'm thinking before it potentially balances. Because that's the support. Now, if that support breaks, then you're talking about some lower levels, I mean, I can't guarantee you that it's not going to break down that much further as Bitcoin. It can flush all the way down and grab a lot of liquidity really quick. But I think that's already happened with like this December 5th candle. That it grabbed liquidity to the upside and liquidity to the downside. So Yeah, it can do whatever it wants to in the short term. I don't care, but it just keeps on forming higher highs and higher lows. You know what it still reminds me of if I just kind of zoom out here on the weekly chart? On the weekly chart, if you see that it got rejected here at 1.272, unfortunately 103,000 didn't really hold as support. And we did break about into the arc here, but unfortunately we kind of fell out of this arc over here. It happens, but you still have a lot of wicks down below. This weekly chart still looks very, very bullish. I still think that this weekly chart here looks more or less similar to where it looks over here. I think we probably end up going sideways here for quite some time. Maybe underneath the arc here, even sideways down here for a little bit before pushing up and go a lot higher. I thought that we were going to get stuck here probably for weeks, and so far it's been getting stuck here for about 3 weeks now. Which is not a bad thing, by the way, because you're supposed to go from arc to arc. I think this built up a lot of energy down here for the entire year 2024. And I think because of that, we're probably going to have enough energy to push through after another few weeks, maybe sooner. I'm not bearish on Bitcoin. I'm sorry. Like, if you think that Bitcoin's topped, I just don't think it is. There are a couple other things to think that it's not, because I already kind of talked a little bit about this on the Cat in the Mat show from yesterday. Let me do a chart here that doesn't have any labels so I can actually draw over it. This is the monthly chart of Bitcoin. All I can say is that we're at the juncture where I think we're going to end up going parabolic pretty soon. Because if you're talking about whenever price breaks about the previous all-time high here, in this particular case, in this market, in this cycle market here, it broke about the all-time high around April, right? And that's when you had the low Bollinger Band really expanded all the way down. And whenever you have something that is happening when it breaks about the all-time high around here, around November 2020, that's when you're getting ready to have the Bollinger Band go all the way down, right? That's when the really more parabolic part of the bull market starts. Now, if you're talking about the current cycle, we've broken about the all-time high here, which means over the next month or two, we might end up having some really impulsive price action where the low Bollinger Band could start going all the way down to the ground. That hasn't happened yet. I think it smells like a bear trap to me. That hasn't happened yet. We are gravitating back to the upper Bollinger Band here so far, and the upper Bollinger Band is very, very strongly pointing up. It wants to go higher. Price wants to go higher over time. And if it does that, then the lower Bollinger Band is also probably going to go back all the way down to the ground, right? I'm waiting for this Bollinger Band expansion to happen. I saw this happening with Palantir not long ago. And sure enough, all it takes just a couple months for prices just like went up crazy and the Bollinger Band is just going all the way down like crazy. I'm seeing the same thing here with Bitcoin. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I have no problems with Bitcoin. It's going to do what it wants to do. But so far, it looks good. Like, I don't know why people are scared about it. And the same thing, too, with MSTR. What has MSTR done so far over the last, few weeks? It's done nothing. It's done nothing between the 1.618 and 1.414. And MSTR, let me see here. I think I drew this again, 720. Yep, on the weekly. MSTR has just basically been respecting level after level, right? Got rejected here at the angle, came back down, back tested 1.414 here multiple times, twice now. It's stuck in a range. It's waiting for Bitcoin to do its thing. Bitcoin's stuck right now. It's trying to grab liquidity. Whew, that was a long phone call. What was I talking about? MicroStrategy. I'm seeing MicroStrategy just kind of stuck in a range right here around 1.618 and 1.414. It's doing nothing. It's just basically tapped the 1.414 again today almost perfectly. It's putting energy. Hopefully we don't break down. If it breaks down, that's okay. It goes down, grabs some liquidity, close the gap, that's okay. I still see it being stuck in a range though, and it's waiting for Bitcoin to kind of break above its arc that I was showing you earlier. But so far, it's just been forming a little bit of a higher low here, consolidating here. It's a bull flag, nothing to really truly get too concerned about. You're talking about Coinbase. A lot of people got really scared about Coinbase. It's just basically slammed right back into the 0.618 here. It could close the gap. There's a little bit of gap down here below. It may not. It might just front run anybody who like trying to buy the gap here and just kind of leave them behind, and probably just goes a lot higher. Who knows? It's right at the 0.618 and bounce from that very, very nicely, right? So I just don't really feel that bearish. Like there's, compared to this August or September dip over here, this is nothing. This is a higher low. Don't worry about it. If you're worried about it, I don't know what else to tell you. It's way about the Ichimoku. It's a bullish chart. Like I don't know what else to say. Clean spark, higher high, higher low over the last 3 months. Broke down underneath the 0.618. Broke down a little bit underneath the bar support band, but this is also one of the weaker, short-term weaker chart for Bitcoin miners anyway. It happens. I think it's fine. I still think this is a higher low, and it's just going to do whatever it wants to do. So far, on this drop here is actually not dropping as much as the others, which actually tells you that there is buyers coming in around this level over here. And it's just going down here, trying to grab liquidity, trying to take out your stop loss and try to go higher over time. I'm not concerned about this. The other thing here too, let me see. Yeah, if you look at, I still think that it's just kind of wedging between the 20 and the 50. It's just trying to build up a lot of energy to kind of getting back out above, because you didn't have enough energy to push through here. He got rejected in the 50, so it's still kind of figure out his own technicals. It's not that bad. It really isn't. Today's volume was a little bit high. I mean, this could be it. Like sometimes you need a high volume candle like the one you have a few days ago and today to really get things started to kind of push up, right? Do I think this gap is going to close all the way down here? I would laugh so hard if it doesn't end up closing this gap. I would laugh so hard if it doesn't end up doing that. Mara broke down underneath the 0.618. Is this a bearish chart? No, it's not. I mean, it's actually looking like one of the better ones because it's above the bar support band over here, right? And it's also still backtesting Ichimoku here. There's really nothing bearish about Mara. I still think Mara is putting up a lot of energy. I think Mara is going to do extremely well in 2025. Bitfarms broke underneath the 0.5. You see a pattern. Like all these, they try to challenge some resistance level above. Like for example, CleanSpark trying to challenge the cloud, wasn't able to. And they kind of broke down underneath here, take out stop loss and leave some pretty important fit level over here, right? Mara, broke down underneath the 0.618, trying to take down some of these stop loss, that you have over here. Bitfarms broke down underneath the 0.5 here, having a hard time breaking through this arc over here, trying to grab some liquidity here, trying to grab some stop loss, but it's still within this horizontal zone over here of support. Cypher, it looked very, very bullish before. It looks like it was just way above the 0.786. Looks like it was going to break above. Nope, so far it got rejected here again. But it's still a bullish chart. Like this is still a bull flag. It's still just consolidating. There's still nothing really scary about Cypher. It still looks like it wants to break above the 0.786 at some point. Iron, same thing, right? Got rejected with the arc. Trying to break back through the 0.786, just not able to. Came back down, grabbed some stop loss. It's still a bullish chart, right? Wolf, same thing, got rejected at 0.618. Got rejected here at again level here. Still a bullish chart, right? Because it's just consolidating sideways over here. Could all of these break down further? If your question is, are they going to break down further? Is CleanSpark going to come all the way down to 0.5 again with this structure of higher highs and higher lows? Probably not, right? But who knows? I like the fact that it went up on increasing volume. I think that this is really one of those that is really trying to take out the stop loss is kind of what I'm seeing. Could Mara drop all the way back down here to like 19 to the teens here again? Probably not, right? Because you have this big giant uptrend here on increasing volume. You have 3 candles here so far on a weekly on declining volume. Looks like there's just a little bit of cooling off to kind of digest what happened over here. Can Bitfarms go down a lot lower? Again, looks like we are just kind of dipping down underneath the 0.5 foot level. We did that multiple times. and it's been holding. It's just been trying to break through this arc here. You have increasing volume that are happening, suggesting there might be a little bit of a character change here soon. I saw that with SoFi before it broke out, so we'll see, right? Again, Cypher doesn't mean it has to go all the way back down to 0.618. I doubt it, right? Iron doesn't mean all will go down to 0.618 over around $8. I doubt it. It's been forming higher highs and higher lows in the last 2 weeks of downtrend here after it got rejected. The arc was on declining volume, right? Wolf, again, consolidating up here on low volume. So far, so good. Could it come down and back test the arc down here? Always a possibility to 5, and that would be extremely bullish if it goes down to like 5.7, 5.5. That would be extremely bullish to build up more energy to push through this range up here. Is it going to do that? I don't know. Would the market give you the opportunity to buy? I don't know. BTBT, could it go down and touch the arc down here? Or not the arc, the angle down here around 3.3? Maybe. Or it doesn't have to. It's been forming higher highs and higher lows, right? Cores broke down underneath the angle. Does it have to come down all the way back down to like $11? Maybe. Does it have to? No, because there's no volume here over the last 2 weeks, right? Riot is just stuck in a range between 0.5 and 0.382. It did nothing. It's got a little bit of bearish engulfing, but it's also like on no volume here at all. So all this is meaningless. HUD 8, what's HUD 8 doing? I think it's telling you how the whole sector may be behaving soon, because it's broke above the 0.618 and it's just hovering up there. It looks bullish. BitDeer, what has it been doing? Extremely bullish. Got to resistance zone here. For BitDeer, I think it's entirely possible for it to come back down and back test the arc down here. I probably wouldn't touch BitDeer. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If it pushes through, it's going a lot higher to double in price. But I just wouldn't touch it because it's got like a trees at top look to it here on the weekly. I probably wouldn't touch it. The point of this is, the point of all of this is that the last couple of weeks, relatively speaking for miners, are relatively meaningless based on the volume. And it could very well be a bear trap because of the behavior, what the volume has been doing over the last couple of months on this uptrend over here. I think this is the real move. I think this is not a real move because of the volume. So we'll see. I could very well be wrong, but in combination with S&P 500, QQQ, IWM, and I'm going to show you another chart here too. I'm going to get away from crypto. I'm going to get away from miners here. I'm going to talk about GME. If the market is truly bearish, if there's truly something sinister that is happening, I don't know why I would see the GME chart breaking back up, turning this arc away from resistance to support and breaking above the 0.382, looking like it wants to re-challenge the 0.618 again. You do have a lot of wicks up here above. Yeah, it has a hard time breaking above because it's waiting for the bullish band to expand. But I cannot be that bearish on this chart because of how the monthly is looking. This looked like Tesla before it wanted to break out. And I'm not bearish here. It does have a little bit of trees at the top here. Maybe it needs a little bit more time. But this looks just like Tesla before it broke out, didn't it? GME looked just like Tesla before it broke out. I'll put this side by side for you so you can see it a little bit better. This is Tesla monthly Bollinger Band, right? And this is GME monthly Bollinger Band, right? You see what I'm talking about, the similarities that I'm seeing. You see what I'm talking about between this and that, the similarities that I'm seeing here. Incredibly similar. Matter of fact, it's so similar that I'm going to take a screenshot and I'm going to post it on X right now. I'm going to say monthly charts, GME on the left, Tesla on the right. What do you think is going to happen to GME? Question mark. Post it. There, I just posted a post live just now because I keep seeing things like this. I cannot be bearish on the market. I cannot be bearish on Bitcoin. I cannot be bearish on GME. I cannot be bearish on miners. because I'm seeing a lot of these kinds of things. By the way, this is the way that a lot of the miners are looking right now too. So I'm gonna use this here. I'm gonna do this to be Tesla, right? And here I'm gonna basically look at all the miner charts, right? Well, Clean Spark is lagging behind, but the 20-month moving average is crawling up, right? So I like this look. It doesn't have the Bollinger Band expansion, unfortunately, right? But it's got the 20-month moving average. Where I think Mara is, I think Mara over here with the 20-month moving average serving support, I think Mara is still kind of contracting here because it's just consolidated sideways for so long. I think Mara is probably right around here, right, compared to Tesla. But you cannot deny that it's using 20-month moving average is pointing up as support, right? If I point out to you what Cypher is doing, Cypher is already Teslaing a little bit, right? With a little bit of Bollinger Band expansion here, right? If I point out to you some of the even more bullish miners, like Iron, doing its thing, very similar morphology, right? You're talking about Wolf. Wolf is already Teslaing. Wolf actually already has its low Bollinger Band all the way down to 0. Wolf is even more Tesla than Tesla, right? So I don't know. It just doesn't make sense for me to be too bearish here. Now, if you're talking about like trades, you're trying to avoid like a monster dump like today, and if you're very smart about catching it, if you like lower time frame charts, then good for you. Like, I just don't care enough to do that. A couple other things I want to talk about. One is Ethereum. Ethereum is doing its thing. It's got 20-month moving average pointing up, is trying to raise the upper Bollinger Band, is trying to go higher. If you're talking about Ethereum, what it's been doing, it's got rejected at the 0.86 Fibonacci level here. After finding support here is 0.618. I think this time it's going to push through, just because it's spent so long here trying to push through, but I think this time it's going to push through because it grabbed enough liquidity down here, because it looks like it's got enough energy being built up down here to push through this time. If you're looking at the higher time frame here on the monthly, this is what I got for Ethereum in terms of cycles, from arc to arc to arc. And right now it could grab it up here to the next arc up here. Like, there's again, higher time frame, there's nothing really scary about Ethereum. Doge, what is it doing right now? It's grabbing liquidity down below. It is just doing what it needs to do before it goes higher. What is it doing right now? Well, on the weekly and 2-week chart is way above the Ichimoku cloud. On the monthly chart is backtesting a very, very thick Ichimoku cloud down here below. I think all of this is probably going to end up just being a big giant wick. And it's probably going to end up closing a month above 37 cents, 37.5 cents. I think it's probably going to end up closing back above. It spent a few weeks hovering around the 0.76 here. During the last cycle on the weekly, I'm not going to move that. I'm not going to draw this here again, but over here, this is basically the 0.786 and 0.618. It got stuck here between 0.76 and 0.618 here for about 4 weeks. Here, we spent about weeks number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 weeks so far, right? Trying to hover above the 0.76, was not able to really get back through that. And right now, it's just kind of coming back down here. Now, if you look at it on a non-linear, you can also, on a linear, you can see that it's actually trying to, let me try to draw a little bit more fit levels here too. It's basically seeing it got rejected almost perfectly here at the 0.618, right? It's coming back down, trying to backtest some of the stuff, maybe grabbing liquidity. It could even wake all the way down to 31 cents. And that could be an incredible, buying opportunity. But I do think that the month is probably going to end up closing above the Ichimoku cloud here. I think all of that probably end up just being a big giant wick, maybe. But if it comes back down to this fit level around 31.6 cents, it closed the month that way, it's not bearish. It's just getting rejected where you thought it was going to get rejected as, trying back down, it's trying to find a little bit of a higher low here. Last cycle, it didn't really care. It has this big giant gap, it just pierces through the Ichimoku cloud, but we're not having that. We're having a little bit more sustainable bull trend, which is actually incredible to me. I could keep talking about crypto, but I think this video is getting a little bit long. All I really want to do is to share some perspective that I really think that the volume is not that high, and I think they're trying to mess with us. And I think that if you're being too bearish here today, you might be doing it a little bit wrong. Or maybe not be. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a cat talking. But yeah, I'm not worried. I'm actually liking today's setup based on the whole macro that I was just kind of talking to you about. It's hitting support where it's supposed to hit support. And it's hitting resistance on the bearish indicator where it's supposed to hit resistance. That's all I got to say. Have a good night, guys.